Hello, I'm Mike McCone and I'm at New York Comic Con. You're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Oh, so slick.
Fierce.
So slick.
Fierce, like Beyonce up in here.
You know when their career begins to take a slide, or a dive, I should say, is when they adopt another name. For everyone but David Bowie.
I mean, Beyonce's in the middle of $1 billion social tour, so I don't think her career.
Yeah, it's inertia, I think. She just has so many fans that they're just like, yeah, you want to go see Beyonce? Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, it doesn't sound like that plays into your theory.
It doesn't. It's just bullshit. It's the usual bullshit.
Sasha Fierce, dude.
I don't understand why, in the name of all that is sound and reasonable, is Taylor Swift the person of the year.
Why wouldn't she's absolutely the most. I mean,
why? Because she makes money.
How she makes money, what she's done.
Money by the fact that she's on her way to having a $2 billion tour that's going to, be twice as large as any tour in the history of music. Yeah.
Now we're giving person of the year to entrepreneurs and people that make money.
I think if you looked at the list of the person of the year, it's been all kinds of people over the years. We've given it to dictators, to politicians, to famous people.
That makes sense. Politicians.
No, I'm saying it's been. I don't think there's any kind of. I think it's the person that's the most significant part of the zeitgeist, and I don't know that there's a human being in the developed world that hasn't thought of or spoken the words Taylor Swift this year.
She's fucking doing concerts at Wembley in June and August next year. It's fucking crazy.
She's cute. I like her. I just don't think the contribution to society is significant. Entertaining, that's significant. Yes. Okay, I guess.
How would you feel if they went ahead and gave her the role of Dazzler?
How would I feel? I think it would be great for the film, because people would go to see it who normally would not. Yeah, I think it's a very smart idea. Yeah. I
mean, listen, they give it to, like, Adolf Hitler was a person of the year, just the record. So, like,
I think he's still a person of the year. Yeah.
I'm saying, like, Anwar Sadat was a person of the year. Like,
wasn't Kissinger?
Selassie.
Didn't Kissinger get it?
Kissinger was, yeah. Stalin was a person of the year twice.
Yeah. Vince B. was a person of the year.
I'm just saying, like they give it to a bunch of different types of peeps.
Whether or not they've earned it. Hey, everybody. It's 11.
Who do you think the first person of the year was?
Jesus.
Come on, dog.
I don't know.
1927, that's a hint.
Amelia Earhart.
Very good. It's wrong, but that's right on point, though. Charles Lindbergh.
Nice. There we go.
Look at you.
Hey, everybody. Surprise, surprise. It's 11 o'clock comics, episode 883. And I'm your buddy, your friend, Vince B.
Aw, you are my buddy and my friend, Vince B. I am David A. Price.
Ooh. Indeed you are. And, of course, I'm Swerve Strickland.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
Whose house?
But you're not. You're Jason Wood, everybody. Here together again on this good old-fashioned average episode where we're going to do nothing but talk comics. And who brought this to you? As usual. Who?
Oh. Cheap graphic novels?
Yes, Mr. Horshack. CheapGraphicNovels.com. CheapGraphicNovels.com. It's in the name. What are you going to get? You are going to get your graphic novels, trade paperbacks, OGNs, manga, omnibus editions, cheaply. Very smart. And once you place an order, and you're going to do that because you're going to be like, holy crap, I've been paying too much. Click. You are going to receive an email confirmation thanking you for ordering from cheapgraphicnovels.com. You are going to reply to that email message, and you're going to say, yeah, I know, but it would never have happened if not for 11 o'clock comics. And you will be gifted almost on the spot. I shouldn't say that. You'll be gifted relatively quickly with an email response granting you free shipping on your second order. It's crazy. A lot of savings going on.
Stupid crazy.
I'm sure you're going to be buying somebody presents for Christmas. I don't know, maybe somebody in your ears. Who knows? But so go, save money, and then you'll save money again. Like what? Cheapgraphicnovels.com.
Dude, you got me going down a rabbit hole now. I'm looking at all the persons of the year going back to like the year I was born.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
I mean,
Are you verklempt?
it's first of all, there's no rhyme or reason to it, and second of all, like some of them I'm like side-eyeing hard.
Wow. Hard.
Like all the presidents get it. It seems like they all get it at least once. Like they get their love.
Wheat thins.
Wheat. The Ayatollah Khomeini was a person.
Oh, for real?
For real, dude.
That's bad. That's a
Dude,
bad
the
look.
computer was person of the year. How's that work?
Well, I'm the computer's probably feels very proud.
Corazon Aquino was a person of the year. The Endangered Earth. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a.
I mean, come on.
What's up with that? Got to give it to T Swizzle.
Like both of the popes of our lifetime were men of the year. Like, huh?
Got no use for that.
Bezos, fucking Elon Musk,
Ugh.
fucking
Surprised.
W twice, Reagan twice, Clinton twice. It's like, all right, we get it.
Yeah.
Hindsight.
Trump, Barack, Putin. Putin was the fucking man of the year. I mean, come on, dude.
You
Like,
know,
Putin was the man of the year, person of the year in 2007, and then Zelensky was person of the year this year, past year. Like, I mean,
I think one should have a rubric, right? You have to have done something that benefits humanity, makes life on this mudball better.
yeah.
So I
mean,
now that I'm
dude,
thinking about it, I get the Taylor Swift thing because
Yeah,
a whole bunch of people love her. So that's great.
2019 was Greta Thunberg. Now listen, I love to say, how dare you, because it's an all-time great meme, but Greta Thunberg had very little impact on the world. It's just we all were quite taken by her speech because she was a young girl going ham on people for destroying the environment. But, like, you know, she's like one kid that's, you know, Greta Thunberg.
She was in the zeitgeist.
That's what I'm saying. So Taylor,
Right.
a lot more people talk about Taylor Swift than ever talked about Greta Thunberg. Like if I walked out and said Greta Thunberg to a random group of people, they'd be like, "Who's that?"
I'm going to scream at these random groups of people and tell them what I'm drinking.
Oh, you should do that.
I am. I won't scream, though. It'll scare them.
Okay.
I'm drinking a whole bunch of old Fezziwig from Sam Adams, and I have a can left over of the Founders All Day Haze Session Hazy IPA. I think this is the sweeter one, which kind of sucks, but okay. That's all I got.
Sounds good. Nice.
It is. It's very good.
Old Fezziwig.
Yeah. It's gone after these 2 bottles.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone. What
Nice.
you drinking, Bo?
I'm drinking up all my love and adoration for you two, gentlemen.
Oh my goodness. That means he has nothing.
I just have water.
HTO. Awesome.
I've decided I've been dehydrated lately. I got to drink more water.
Now, this is a question. I already know the answer to it, but it's going to break my heart nonetheless. Waterboy. 5-star movie?
Oh my God.
What?
Oh, you mean
Yes.
Sandman.
Yes.
Well, I will say this, which maybe I don't know if it'll please you or not, but of all of the Sandler movies, Waterboy is one of the few that I think was okay.
Okay. Just okay.
Yeah, just okay, but like it doesn't make me want to punch him in the face.
That's good that you
Yeah.
don't want to punch him in the face.
No, I do want to punch him in the face. Just that movie in particular doesn't make me want to punch him in the face.
Adam Sandler should be Person of the Year. They should have
yeah.
gave it to him
Surprised
when
he hasn't been.
they should have gave it to him when Uncut Gems came out because that was a freaking.
She gave it to him with the Hanukkah song.
They should have given it to him when he made his comedy album with the goat in it, which is one of the greatest comedy albums of all time, and that was his peak.
Oh wow.
Okay. So there we go. Dap, what are you drinking?
Just repping hard for Sandler.
I love him.
Always and forever. This is for you, Vince. because it is some bullet bourbon inside a mug that also contains Earl Grey tea and a bit of honey. So it's kind of like a hot toddy, but not.
Oh, nice. Nice. I thought you were going to tell me there was a Borg cube in it, that we were all going to be assimilated.
No, I'm trying to drink something a little on the warmer side tonight. So that's what the tea is for. It's hot tea.
Oh, it's actually hot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't want anything
nice.
cold tonight.
There you go. Yeah. It's been a little nipple lately.
Yes, it has.
Nice.
Oh, for sure.
So, it's that time again. Mes amis. See where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some comics.
Let's do it.
Well, I consumed a whole lot of pages.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Good.
But most of it
Oh, I see.
is only one thing. I mean, I read a lot of comics this week, I guess.
Yep.
But the majority of it is only one title. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe like 2 or 3 titles, but they're thematically linked. I was going through the New Mutants Omnibus, Volume 1. And I don't know whether it was just the amount of time that has elapsed since the first time I read these things, but I was stunned to learn the real reason why Charlie started the New Mutants. Do you remember what the real reason is?
I refrained from looking it up when you teased this.
Let me set it up for you.
Go ahead.
Supposedly, the X-Men were off fighting the Brood. And supposedly, Charlie and everybody else who knew them, because at this point the X-Men were not a common thing in the Marvel Universe. They were clandestine. They were, the secret organization of mutants that were, helping people in the shadows, ostracized and feared, the whole thing. But at this point, the X-Men were quote unquote dead. Charlie believed them to be dead. Lilandra, who was at the time romantically linked with Charlie, believed them to be dead. So that's the envelope in which the whole New Mutants series started. But there's a reason why Charlie brought the kids in to the school. You don't know, either one of you?
Can't say that I remember the insidious reason.
It's insidious.
I thought it was because he thought his X-Men were dead and he wanted to bring
that's the thing. That's the tell, because he was so distraught that he believed his ex-children to be dead that he did not want to take any more children in. He did not want to see his loved ones, his students, die before his eyes. So he was against it initially. But then he's like, okay, Shan, come on, I'll bring you in and we'll get this Sam Guthrie kid. Come on. It's, the more the merrier. Roberto da Costa, all of them, like, Ileana. Come on. There's room in the mansion. We got lots of room. The reason why Charlie started the New Mutants was because he was possessed by a brood queen and he wanted to use their genetic material to proliferate the brood. That's the reason why he started the New Mutants. I was like, holy shit. I completely forgot about that. And I don't even know, maybe I didn't even pick up on it. I'm sure I did. Because it's Chris Claremont. It is crammed down your throat. But yeah, Charlie was possessed by a brood queen and was undergoing the transformation, and the brood queen was controlling his mind. So he would have these spells where he'd black out and he wouldn't remember shit. And it was the brood queen acting as him. And he brought the kids in to exploit their genetic superiority and use them to extend the brood race across the surface of the planet, conquering it, and then leapfrogging to another planet. That was the whole plan. I was insane with joy that I had learned that, because it adds a new. Now, obviously, the New Mutants was started to capitalize on the popularity of the X-Men. That's the main reason. But I think it's a neat little spin that they put on it. That it's a reason for another X book, but it's a nice little insidious little reason why the series started. I don't like the resolution, though, because Charlie completely transforms into a brood. And, okay, obviously Charlie did not stay a brood. What happened? Well, do you remember that, Jason? Why Charlie changed after this incident?
Oh, I don't.
It's ridiculous.
Something corny like Wolverine gave him a blood transfusion or something?
No. They cloned him and implanted his consciousness in the cloned body.
Well, that kind of like plays into the Hickman stuff. That's kind of cool.
And that's why he was able to walk, because he didn't.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And it was that Sikorsky thing that you know what. So the you know this in the Star Jam. It didn't happen in the New Mutants. It happened in X-Men. Yep. I'll tell you. I think it's like 167. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm loving this stuff. There are trademark Claremont-isms that are kind of odd, in the Wayback Machine. The fact that Shan just spontaneously lapses into French. Like, she's a Vietnamese, but she'll just blurt out something in French. Now, I'm sure there's a logical reason for it. Like, maybe France has some kind of attachment to Vietnam, or did it. I don't know. But I think Claremont did it.
By way of Madripoor?
I think Claremont did it to show that Shan was smart. Like, she knows multiple languages. She's a survivor.
She was probably my least favorite member of the team.
Same. But it all begins with her. It all begins in Marvel Team Up. She it's Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and her.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's a inauspicious beginning for a series. Maybe they didn't even have it planned then, but maybe they did, because Claremont wrote that issue, and why would this New Mutant just pop up in an issue of Marvel Team Up? So they probably had designs on the Marvel graphic novel at the time. I'm sure they did. But she wasn't your favorite of the New Mutants, the original Nexus of the New Mutants. Who was?
It was Mirage for me. Danny Moonstar.
Yeah, I did like Danny. I like Sam. I probably if I looked to see like who I could relate to, it was probably Sam amongst all. I loved the look of Roberto when he turned into Sunspot. I love all that black. It was just reminded me of Pollard's Vigilante. But probably Sam. Although my favorite leader of the team is obviously Danny. But I was a fan of Cannonball.
I'm not a huge fan of Danny. I mean, I like her, but I didn't. I wasn't down.
You're a strong woman of color.
No. Here's an idea. Keep her Cheyenne. That would have been nice to keep her Cheyenne, but they had to go and tweak her and say, "Oh no, she's Valkyrie too."
Yeah,
that's weird. That's just strange. The most likable is Sam by a long shot. No pun intended. But my favorite's Ileana. Always was. Always
sure.
was.
Well, I mean, she's probably the most popular New Mutant, like in terms of the test of time, I would say, right?
Yeah. But a whole lot of fun. This stuff goes down like delicious, creamy butter. I mean, issue after and Claremont's a wordy bitch. He really is. Yeah. The reputation has been well earned, but it doesn't. It's not grating at all in retrospect. I thought it would be revisiting this stuff. I thought, oof, this is going to be a chore, but it's so much fun. And I remember how linked the two books were at one point, where in New Mutants, Professor X tells Kitty that, you know what, because of these new kids and I see the dangers they face every day, I don't think you should be a member of the X-Men. I think I'm going to demote you to be the leader of the New Mutants. And that leads directly into Professor X is a jerk. That's why she's so pissed off on that splash page. I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. Having a lot of fun with this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that. I don't know how many years ago it came out now. It's probably a lot longer than I remember, but I have that beautiful felt-bound, oversized hardcover of the Sienkiewicz New Mutants run that they did a few years back.
Oh yeah, but this book's insane. It has. Let's see. It starts off with Marvel Team Up 100, and then it goes into X-Men 160, then the Marvel graphic novel number 4, New Mutants, and then it contains New Mutants 1 to 34. So you get all of the Demon Bear stuff in here. Like this book is pretty much worth its weight in gold, I think. Not only for, the whole mythology of the New Mutants, but specifically that Demon Bear stuff. Like that's just, I think it's a pinnacle of any of the X books, right? I think you'll agree with me with that, right?
Well, wait. So you're saying, do I agree that it's the best non-core X-Men book? Is that what you're asking?
It's up there. I said it's the pinnacle, which means, there's a lot of room at the top. So
the pinnacle of what? Did you say of all mutant books? Or
yeah.
Oh, no.
The Demon Bear stuff's not?
Oh, you're talking about the run. I thought you meant like...
No, not the whole run. I said the Demon Bear specifically. That extended storyline.
It's certainly up there, right? I mean, it's
great.
It's one of the great mutant runs. I mean, I don't think I'd put it at the pinnacle, but certainly we've talked about this a lot. For me, especially at my age at the time it came out, it was, if not the first, it's the one I remember the most of seeing just vastly different art in a comic and being like, oh wow, like comics can be so much more than like what I've known them to be to this point.
Right.
And for me, it's probably the best New Mutant story of all 9,900 issues or whatever it was.
I don't know what the obsession was with Team America.
The Marauder.
I think that was foisted upon Claremont. Like, you got to do something with this Team America stuff.
Sure.
And they're in it for like at least 3-4 issues. It's just odd. It's weird. And Professor X, because he thinks the kids can handle themselves, he's doting on Team America. Imagine that on your resume. What did you do? Yes, I fostered the powers and abilities of Team America. Who? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah, this is so much fun. And this also has the Magic miniseries in it, too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a nice collection.
It is. It's really nice. There's a Frank Miller drawn Marvel Team Up in here, too.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just great. So much so that I ordered the second one.
Nice.
Because I'm a big lunkhead, and I sold my entire run of New Mutants. Back when we did the move, I got rid of them. And it's the thing, right? That's what we do. We wane on certain books, and then you purge. And then there comes a time, inevitably, when it's like, why did I do that? I enjoyed those books. I would like to read them again. Oh, I don't have them anymore. Thankfully, the omnibus editions fill those holes nicely.
Mm.
There you go. New Mutants Omnibus Volume 1.
It's a lot of good reading.
I can go into more detail. I think Claremont slipped up a little bit with the Roma issues. It went on for far too long.
I mean, it did, but Magma's hot as balls, though.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
it
means to an end, sure. But I think he spent a little bit too much time in the secret valley in the Amazon.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Magma over the years, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like we really haven't seen much of her.
How about Karma getting all fat? Like, that was crazy. She's gigantic. Like, and then all of a sudden she's in the desert for all those times. And it's like, oh, she's hot again. There's no way you could not have massive stretch marks when you're that big and all of a sudden you're not anymore. Like, okay. But as a visual, when she was gigantic, I thought it was kind of cool that they, she really ate up the page real estate, but pun intended, yeah. No
Looking like Shadow Queen out there.
Yeah. I have another X book, but I'm not sure both of you read it, so I will wait till later.
I have no intention of reading that piece of shit.
It's not a piece of shit.
It's not a piece of shit.
No, dude, it is really smart.
Well, I mean, I could say that because
I don't need a new Nightcrawler fucking a new. His origin was already great, and I don't need a new one.
Oh no, it doesn't have much to do. Yes, it kind of does. It's only superficial. The way it impacts Nightcrawler. Do you want me to tell you?
I read about it, but you go ahead and please don't tell the audience though. By all means.
No, Azazel is not Nightcrawler's father.
Right. Well, so you just contradicted yourself. I said he didn't need a new origin, and
but it's a better origin. His parents are Mystique and Destiny.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Wait, so a person that can shapeshift makes more sense to you than a person that can alter their genetic sequence?
It's going to sound ridiculous coming from me of all people because I champion all of this, but like it doesn't make sense to me why we needed to bother, especially in a standalone one-shot branded origin book that nobody's going to buy except for you, I guess. At a time when Marvel's selling no comics, they need to redo an origin story that most of us remember fondly, and there was no problem with it. All basically to make some kind of statement, which I don't think we need to make about it in particular, because that's already a pretty based side of the ledger already. So like, it seemed very like whiteboarding. Like, how can we make a woke story about Nightcrawler? Oh, let's have Mystique be trans now. Like what? Like that? Like again, like if you want to make Mystique trans and have a story where she plays a man, cool. But like, what's the point? How does it serve the character of Nightcrawler or the continuity of the X-verse to change Nightcrawler's history and his origin? It doesn't make any sense to me.
But it's not. It is changing his origin, but only slightly. Does it really matter that Azazel's not his father now? No, it doesn't matter at all.
Well,
I think it's more important.
I
think it's more important that now we have another layer to a character that plays into. There's something really smart that she says in the issue, and normally I shy away from reading, from comics, but Nightcrawler's like, I just don't get it. You're either a man or a woman, or so you're telling me you're both. And Mystique says something along the lines of, the binary part of it is not the gender aspect of it. It's the binary aspect of those who are allowed to be who they want to be and those that are denied that. Right. Like, that is really freaking smart. I thought this was probably one of the best X issues I've ever read.
I enjoyed it. I
retcons
don't have a problem with the statement you just made. I have a problem with them, in my opinion, and again, it's only my opinion, and I don't know the editor. This was created specifically for that. Like, let's turn Mystique into a transgender heroine. And you didn't need to fuck with Kurt's backstory, especially when, again, it's all comics, so it's all silly to begin with, but, like, why, like, Azazel and Kurt are identical looking. Like that's by design. Azazel was created to look like Kurt because they were making him his father. Like, and Azazel was thought to be Satan at one point. Like, there was so much beautiful continuity to that, and the idea that like Kurt's this mutant who everyone hates, but somehow he's still a Christian, which is inexplicable and very analogous to people like my uncle who was gay and wanted to have a Catholic funeral, even though the church never accepted him. and yet his dad might have been Satan. Like, that was fucking brilliant, and it made sense because they looked like each other. Like, Kurt smells of sulfur, and he has the same powers as all of the Azazel family, and he teleports just like they can, and he has a tail and hoofs just like they do. And now suddenly Mystique, who has always taken on a straight up human form, albeit with blue skin, is biologically creating this mutant who just so happens to look just like Azazel and the demon mutants that have been around for, like, it's just again, like, this was created so that someone could be like, oh, look how woke we are, we're making Mystique a trans hero. And, like, make her a trans hero. Just make her a trans hero. Like, make Mystique be trans. Like, that makes all the sense in the world because she's a shapeshifter. So why should she have a gender? That makes all the sense in the world. But, like, and then to brand it the way they did, like, oh, like, and you can, like, you tried to say it has nothing to do with Kurt. Like, it's fucking called X-Men Origins. Like, it's like it is a one shot about his origin. Like,
but
like,
in order to make,
it's just I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think it's dumb as fuck, and I think it is the kind of forced retconning for messaging that really makes people not bother to read mainstream comics anymore. Like,
wow.
like, it's like, who is this for? It doesn't make sense. Like, create a new trans hero, create a new character, like, or make Mystique trans and tell a story about that. Like,
but Mystique had a child. Mystique has in the mythology, Mystique has a child. So in order to transform the character into a new mode, don't you have to take into account the backstory? Yes, to make it at least believable on some level. So you can't just say, let's make Mystique trans without what, wait a minute, isn't she Nightcrawler's mother? How did that happen? So you need,
because you don't have to fuck with Nightcrawler. She can just be trans. She can have had a baby because she can be a woman, and she can also be trans and be a man when she wants to be. It could have nothing to do with Kurt. That's the point. So what does this mean for Azazel and all of that history? Why does Kurt look like Azazel? Why does he have the same powers? Why does he have sulfur? Basically totally, what's the point? Like, it eradicates all of that to the point of making it, like, nonsensical. Because then you're saying that, like, all of that is nonsensical or coincidence. So it's coincidence that Kurt happens to have the same look, powers, and can transverse the same dimension as his dad, who's now not his dad. Like, what? Like, it's so illogical for the sake of that they wanted to make Mystique trans. Like, just make her trans. Like, tell an awesome story where she's trans. Have Kurt have a sister. Like, have some other character that we've either never met or we have met but we don't know their origin, and we find out that it's Mystique's daughter or son, and Mystique is the father. Like, that's cool. Like, that's how Hickman would have done it, because then it wouldn't have fucked with everything else that we read before.
Okay, there you go. I thought it was a neat little wrinkle. I love Kurt, probably my favorite X-Man, but his origin is not as sacred to me as Peter Parker's. Let's just say, right? Kurt has always been who he is. The fact that his genetic origins have changed are not going to really change the character for me any more than if they didn't. You know what I mean? Select him to be the object of this retcon. And again, I only think he's yes, it does change things, but I think it was a means to an end. And I thought the means or the end was very smartly written. But, you know, different flavors, I guess. Dap, you read it?
I did. I did because of the uncanny Spider-Man connection.
Right. It says you have to read 3 and 4 before this, but you didn't really have to.
No, and I did. I'm pretty sure I'm current on that book. I thought Marcus's art was neat.
There's two artists on this. Wilton Santos and Marcus Toe.
That's right. Yeah. They're very complimentary to each other. No, I am very much a purist for certain things. There's no doubt about it. We've got years of that on record. I am a big fan of Nightcrawler, so anything that kind of sheds some light on him, I'm happy to see. But because I am not so beholden to what came before, I kind of enjoyed the story. That said, I can definitely see and feel Jason's point of view on this. But no, I didn't. I foolishly, when the issue came out, I saw what a lot of other people were saying about it, so I didn't necessarily put it at the top of the stack. But I finally got around to reading it, and as a story, I enjoyed it. But yes, I can see why my folks could definitely leave this where it is and not bother with it in the future. But I enjoyed it.
It's something. I guess it stirred the pot, so to speak. Right? There was significant.
Did it? I don't know. I mean, again, like this
yeah,
doesn't
well,
strike me as a book that was
among those you would think would be incensed about this. I guess it did the job. Yeah.
Oh, there's people that are like mad about the fact that it's a trans story.
Well, the whole thing. Part of it on your side that why mess with Nightcrawler, and part of it, yes, the whole, I guess intentionally woke. You could call it. You can interpret it if you want, I guess. But yeah, that's what really got me to read it, because not only was it Nightcrawler, I would have read it anyway, but there was an expediency aspect to it because I had seen some of comments online that it was an abomination and a travesty, and whatever. Again, who knows how long this is going to last? There's been many characters that have transformed over time, not only with the X-Men, but just in Marvel in general. But this may stick, this may not. I don't know. But I liked it. I thought it was really well done. Yeah. Move on.
You're the rep for the Marvel Mutantdom these days. Now that I've abandoned
I think the books are good. I mean, yeah, the gala was dookie, but there are good things coming out of it.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'm where you were a few years ago. It's just almost impossible for me to find much to enjoy from Marvel these days.
You'll come around.
Maybe.
I think you will.
I used to tell you the same. You'd swear you didn't. You did. So I'm not going to swear that I'm not going to, because
right. I haven't completely. There's 50% of the big two that I disregard completely. So
for now.
I don't know. No, it's been a long time since the DC book has attracted me, and it's always on the fringes, like Soul Plumber. I thought Soul Plumber was really good, but I mean, who read that? But that doesn't.
That was like 7 years ago.
Yeah, no, no, it wasn't. that doesn't matter. The amount of people reading it doesn't matter. But like, I see all these Bat books, I'm just like, nah, I don't really care.
Oh yeah.
I really tried to read the Batman in Space thing. Doug Monkey would be the one to get me to read it, and I picked it up, I read it, and it was just like, whatever, just okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I'm gonna start getting Azazel commissions just to keep my man's name out up in them streets.
I really think it's Azazel, but okay.
What was it in X-Men First Class? Because he was in that movie. They had
I've never seen.
It was
that.
Azazel there.
It was Azazel. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that. So whatever. That. Yeah.
It was one of the good ones.
I thought so.
I mean, except for
listen, I mean, can Chuck Austin eat? The man is besmirched every turn. Like, he gave us Azazel at least. I mean, that was one of the things he did right.
No kidding. That was Chuck Austin.
It was, and Sean Phillips.
I'm telling you, I give Austin credit for predicting the social media avalanche, because that was a huge part of his run, where everybody was talking about the various X-Men, and the media was front and center in his run, and I'm like, that was pretty canny. Again, pun intended.
Canny.
Yeah.
I get getting back, like, my issue with it is, again, it's just inelegant. And I know it's Big Two Comics, so of course it's inelegant, but like, we've talked this a million times. Like, these comics can be elegantly crafted. Like, you could have told a awesome story about Mystique being trans, or at least at times choosing to be male and represent herself that way, without having to decide you're going to make it a big marketing gimmick and call it and like try and get it to be an event and something people want to speculate on the issue and all this stuff, and mess with like Nightcrawler's origin. Like, because again, yeah, like they don't. What does it really matter? No, of course. I mean, all these characters have gone through a million changes, but Nightcrawler is one of the most beloved X-Men. Like,
Truth.
So
yeah,
you know, and to me, that's what like this to me isn't the same as like when people got upset that Bobby Drake was gay now, because you could credibly argue that, because like that's just a choice about sexuality. We never saw Bobby's sexuality, and it would stand to reason, especially when the comic came out, that he would have been closeted for a long time, right? So like that makes all the sense in the world. But to me, again, if we're nerding out and we're supposed to be like, and the aha is supposed to be that she can also be male when she wants to be, which I think is the whole point of the issue. It's like, oh snap, she was his father. It's like, okay, like I actually think the idea of her being male is pretty cool, and it makes all the sense in the world that Mystique could become a very prominent, like regularly featured every month Marvel character who represents trans. Like that makes all the sense in the world. But deciding that the only way you can do that, or the best way, is then to suggest that all the history we got about Nightcrawler, who again, like literally looks exactly like Azazel, like just with different skin color, right? Like he's Azazel in all ways except he's got his mom's blue skin.
But there are things in the book that address that.
Okay, maybe they do because they had to, but like it's still inelegant. Like they're still retconning a bunch of stuff
I know.
that made sense.
I take issue with that word, inelegant. I think the dialogue is extremely well constructed. It's as far as the interior of the book.
Wrote it, so.
Cy Spurrier. As far as the interior of the book, the manipulation of the sequences and the dialogue itself are very well written. Todd McFarlane did not have anything to do with this book.
Sure.
So
the plot contrivance.
Okay. I get that, but I mean, for what it is, contrivance or not, the book is extremely well produced. The art is gorgeous. The coloring is beautiful, and the actual wordplay, the way those words were manipulated in strings, is really, really well done. That's what I'm saying.
It's cool. No, I respect that.
Yeah. What else do we have, hater?
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, you're just pushing my buttons. Next thing you want us to talk about, we're going to do a deep dive on Jason Aaron's Avengers next, or?
No, I've never read that. I've read more of his Batman than I have his Avengers. Yeah.
I guess he's full-time DC now, because he's been all over the social medias now and been like, I guess he was at a retreat. He's like, I'm hanging out with my coworkers. So I guess, I know he's got, I don't know if he's exclusive per se, but it seems like he's pretty committed to being a DC guy.
Scotty's got his big toe in the water. Who knows? Maybe Scotty will.
I was thinking that actually, right?
Because those two are tied at at least they were. They were
I don't think they're as close anymore. Again, I don't want to air it, but either way, I think they're friends, still friends though. I'm saying, so I don't.
Right.
It's not that. Yeah, I guess they've never really worked together though professionally, have they?
I don't believe so.
No.
I'm sure Scotty's done covers because he does every cover always for everything.
Oh yeah, there's got to be some variants out there. But I mean, by the time Jason got to Marvel, Scotty was already writing his own shit. So
yeah, fair. I got something that DAP. If you didn't pre-order this, and I don't think you did because you would probably mention it to me, you got to pick it up when you can because you're going to love it. And that is Inside the Mind of Sherlock Holmes, The Case of the Scandalous Ticket. This is a Titan comic. It's a hardcover by Titan with an absolutely, like, I'm a sucker for this kind of thing, gorgeous die-cut cover.
Oh,
the die cut is Sherlock's, of course, classic profile with the hat and all that, and you're looking inside of his head, inside the mind, and it's Sherlock on a ladder in a giant library inside of his mind, looking up on a shelf of books labeled crime. But it's written by Cyril Lieron, Liern, and drawn by Benoit Dahan. Like I said, it's Titan, so I'm assuming it's translated from French originally. I don't know. I couldn't find it necessarily in here, but I'm guessing. I mean, Titan seems Titan doesn't just do like U.S. based books that way, so I'm assuming it isn't imported initially. In fact, it may have been. Let me see if I can find it. It may have been a 2-issue thing. It's structured in this way in one, but it may have been a 2-issue joint in France. But anyway, I'll figure that out. But as you can imagine from the name, it's a Sherlock Holmes book, but it's an original tale, which I feel like a lot of the Sherlock material we get are just, or it's almost. I mean, a lot of it's awesome, but it's generally just taking Arthur Conan Doyle's stories and serializing them or turning them into film or TV or comics. But this is a new story, and it's basically there is a like a mysterious like Sherlock comes across a series of kidnappings, and there's like a mysterious powder and these tickets, like these very ornately drawn tickets, like concert tickets or theater tickets back then. Very ornate though, and customized with all of this like really detailed illustration and Chinese like letters, Chinese words, but obviously but somehow I guess Sherlock doesn't know Chinese, and he gets on the case, or he decides to take the case, of course, in his own way and tries to figure out the mystery, and of course he does. And all the usual suspects are in the book, Watson being his homie by his side. But the great conceit of this book, and what makes it so neat, is that the way it's illustrated, as the story goes and you're hearing Holmes explain in the Holmesian way all the clues coming together and his deductions, the illustrations are just incredible. I mean, it's just all different ideas of like what's it like to be in Holmes's head and how he's accessing the knowledge that he accesses. And like there's a point where he sits down and smokes a pipe full of cocaine so that he can go deeper, and he goes deep into his mind cave, and they illustrate it like his head as this like giant metallic building, a furnace where like as the smoke of the drugs go through his head, it opens up into these different pockets of knowledge that he can access and put it all together to figure out like the clues. And there's one point where there's a little note at the corner of the book that says, "Hold this page up to the light." And you hold the page up and it's see-through, and you can see the figure of a character walking through the wall. It's it's so crazy. It's like, wait, what? Like, it was so neat. And the neat thing too is that it's not like they just use one visual manifestation of his brain. I mean, every page is a different approach to it and a different way of looking into the way that he thinks about things and piecing the clues together. And it's beautiful. It's not too long either. It's I don't think there's a page count, but let me see. It can't be more than like 100 pages. It's probably less than that, actually. But it's full color, full illustrated. The characters are a little bit I can't offhand like think of an illustrator that our listeners might immediately know. You know what it's like? It reminds me of dude from Chew. What's dude's name from Chew?
Rob Guillory?
Yeah, Rob Guillory, exactly. It reminds me a little bit of Rob Guillory in terms of the figure work and the anatomy and sort of the stretched out faces and chins and stuff. But the real hook here is just that it's all about being in the mind of Holmes as he solves this whodunit, and in very satisfying fashion, of course. And it's just really neat. Like there's at one point where he like tries to figure out what the powder is, and he realizes that it controls. It acts as a almost like a hypnotic potion. Like if you give it to someone, you can put them under hypnotic spell. So at one point, he sneaks it to Watson, and then he has Watson like play Russian roulette and put a gun to his head and pull the trigger. And of course, in Holmes' mind, this is like success. He's like, oh yes, success. And it's like just things like that. It's just the kinds of things that it does what is so great about Holmes, and that it really reminds you of how alien he is. How the way he sees the world is just so ridiculously orthogonal to the way the rest of the people can see the world. And I hope that, I don't know, again, like I don't know much about the backstory here. I hope that this is the first of many, like that they continue to tell these stories in this way, because it absolutely is replicable, and they could certainly do existing Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes stories if they wanted in this way. But really creative, really neat, and like I said, not even that large of a book, such that you can probably read it in one sitting or two sittings if you want. So, absolute home run. Inside the Mind of Sherlock Holmes: The Case of the Scandalous Ticket.
Now, considering that this is an original tale, it's set in the time of the original Sherlock stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's
I wasn't sure if anybody else was trying to be creative and make them contemporary like they did. With
no.
No.
This is Victorian area. This is all the classic, the classic setting for sure. In fact, the people that are the kidnappings and murders he's investigating, they're being kidnapped by a horse and buggy, like as an example.
Okay.
So
I have a question for you Holmes addicts. Who do you think portrayed the character the best?
Well, that's a tough one because as a kid, I don't know how I was introduced to it as my dad or just random, but I was all into the Basil Rathbone.
Yeah,
that's
one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's probably so. That's when I think of Sherlock Holmes, I think my mind immediately goes to Basil Rathbone. But I have to say though, I think that the BBC series was, that's probably my favorite Sherlock content outside of the original works. Like the Stephen Moffat show that Dab and I used to gush about when it was coming out. That is, to me, my favorite adaptation with Benedict Cumberbatch. That's, at least I'm pretty sure that was the first time I'd ever seen Benedict Cumberbatch, or at least it was around that time when he was. But so if I had to pick nostalgia says Basil Rathbone, but objectively and what I would want to rewatch now at nearly 50 years old, it'd be Cumberbatch.
Oh.
We do rewatch that from time to time.
Yeah.
I also like Johnny Lee Miller from Elementary because that's also a modern telling.
Never watched it.
It's extremely entertaining, especially with Lucy Liu as Watson. I enjoyed it a lot. Didn't finish it. I need to get back to the final season, and the whole Moriarty twist was pretty neat too. But as far as the old school stuff, I like Peter Cushing, but I'd have to go with Basil as well.
Interesting.
Why
you like Christopher Lee?
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah, definitely Christopher Lee. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't think it's Robert Downey.
No, it would either be Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, or Basil Rathbone. I think out of those three, I just have a very strong attachment to Christopher Lee.
Sure.
So I would go with him.
Dracula.
I do with Cushing too, and even Rathbone. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I always lean to Christopher Lee.
So when I was first dating Beth, and I was going to go spend Christmas at with her family, I was desperate to make a good impression and get her parents' thoughtful gifts, And because you want to make a good impression.
I get it totally.
So, and this was back in the day when video, buying video cassettes of shit was that was the thing, right? We bought videos of stuff you wanted to have. So I remember I bought her dad a box set of the Basil Rathbone Sherlock stuff. That was the first thing I ever bought him. Oh. So, yeah, good memories.
That's cool.
See, we bounced right back from that little tete-a-tete we had.
It was not even a tete-a-tete. That was yet another episode of Jason is Wrong.
Oh, my God. Is this the time where you talk to us about another symbiote book, or are we taking a week off?
Oh. No, we are taking a week off because I won't talk about Venom because I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, the actual Venom book?
Yeah, Natasha doesn't need to have a symbiote.
I saw the cover now. I'm like, oh, it's Black Widow. Yeah, that's
well, she's just Widow. She's Widow. Just Widow.
Right. Since her sister's got a book out, right?
And open letter to Marvel: stop using Doctor Doom for everything. Stop.
Well, they got to build him up because he's probably going to replace Kang in the rest of the movie. So
great, sure, that's awesome, but. Okay, because he's in the X-Men now. He's been in Venom for a while.
I heard something crazy. I heard they're gonna retcon it where he's actually a robot sometimes.
No.
Wait,
the Doombots. That's fine.
I'm being facetious. I'm making fun of the Necro.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant.
I just want him to be Kristoff.
Yeah, nice.
They better. I'm just pleading with them. Keep the magic intact. don't jettison that. Man of Science is great, but the whole attachment to the mom and the infernal arts accompanying the science, we need that. We need that.
I agree.
And that would be a great way to, because I think Benedict is kind of like taking a pause on acting, but that would be a great way to bring Strange back into the fold.
Wait, is he really taking a pause for acting?
I want to say yes.
Oh, I mean, like for a particular reason, or he's burnt out, or
it might have been a burnout. It's been so long since I saw the headline.
Huh?
I'll look it up.
How about that shit?
How old would you say he is?
48.
No, I don't think he's that old. I think he's. I want to say to 43 to 45. I know 48's 23 years older than that, but I don't think he's close.
He
to
is
50.
4 to 7. 4 to 7.
Oh shit! Good Vince. Go you. What is it?
It was a guess.
It was a good guess.
Yeah, it was a guess. What do we have? Dap-a-diddle?
Yeah, I'm trying not to because I want to start coughing and hacking into the microphone.
That's Jason's job.
That was good though. Yeah. Oh well, nah. So I did read the second issues of both Wesley Dodds, the Sandman, and Alan Scott, the Green Lantern. The Green Lantern one's not a little. It's a lot of fucked up because we lean heavy into conversion therapy, because of course it's what is it, the 40s, and God forbid we have soldiers who are gay, and a lot of this issue takes place at Arkham, where Alan actually admitted himself, because basically the army gave him a choice, and so he went to the asylum, and he figured, listen, once he gives it enough time, he can just check himself out. But unfortunately, one of the doctors finds his journal, which of course goes into detail on his thoughts, and at that point, that's when the doctor decides that Alan Scott is a deviant, and decides to do the whole electrolysis. There's a sad moment where there's an older queen who's friends with Alan. His name is Billy. He wears wigs. He puts on makeup, and he's comfortable, but he does actually come back to the ward in a wheelchair, big old bandage on his head, slurred speech because obviously the anesthesia is wearing off, and they basically just wiped him clean, and now he's just waiting for his family to come and take him home, and that's when Alan kind of just not necessarily breaks down, but that's when he just has a moment to himself, takes his journal with him, and then that's when the doctor snatches him and says that now you're going to officially be committed. But there is a very, very Shawshank Redemption. There's a younger dude who appears to be sweet on Alan Scott, and there's one night where the nurse was in the medical cupboard, and the medicine cupboard actually, and the inmates lock the door so she can't get out, and a bunch of them beat feet and escape. Alan gets on a train and doing his best impression of a hobo, along with this young lad, and makes his way. While he's on the train, what was interesting, how Alan Scott gets his hands on the lantern is because Billy made it in Metal Shop. Says it was the first piece of scrap that they brought in that wasn't a Nightmare in Gray, and Billy practically knocked over the entire class to snatch it, and he made a train lantern for Alan. So Alan takes it with him while on the train, and he is his while he and his new boy toy are kind of necking. The lantern starts to glow, and there's this huge crack, large explosion. Train is just falling off there's a bridge the train was on. Train crashes. Alan is just Alan survives, and one of the only survivors of this crash. But he hears a voice saying that we bring death and then life, and as 42 souls perished from that train crash, only 41 would be lost. And the voice, that light, carried Alan Scott to death, brought him back to life, and basically granted him the power of the Green Lantern. And Alan is telling Doiby all of this while in a flashback, and the second issue is pretty much just to explain how Alan got the lantern and became Green Lantern. But while all this is going on, there seems to be somebody in red who looks to have his own power ring, kind of just hovering above the harbor, and that's where the issue ends. So Green Lantern will have to face an adversary in the next issue. The second issue of the Sandman, though, didn't really go into detail as far as who may have robbed and burned down the Dodds home. But Wesley is kind of, hat in hand. He has to. It's uncomfortable for him, but he needs assistance from friends, from family friends. A friend of his father, who was in the first issue, who was working with Wesley to bring the experiment to the armed forces to prevent lethal acts during wartime. That old man put Wesley up in one of his penthouse apartments. Diane is there to kind of just talk him off the ledge, because he's kind of just beside himself between the house and the missing samples of the gases, and of course the gun and the mask. So he's got his own demons to deal with. But there's a whole lot of detective work going on in the second issue. It's really good. Riley's work, of course, is top notch. Action sequences were crazy. But no, I thought surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, but I am enjoying the Green Lantern book more than I thought I would. I figured I'd check out the first issue, just see where it is, and then maybe just kind of skim the second to see if it would keep my interest. And it seems to be doing that. But the Sandman, and it's another issue where it ends with the villain kind of front and center, although this time we actually do get to see him facing the reader, wearing his gas mask, of course. But both issues, funnily enough, end in a similar fashion. But and of course, both heroes are going to have to face whatever the hell demons they're about to face. But I thought Sandman continues to be a really, really good series, and a reintroduction, or if you've never read Sandman before, an introduction to the character. I enjoyed the Sandman a lot, but both were extremely entertaining. I still haven't checked out the Jay Garrick Flash book. I'm sure I will but these are basically just kind of on a whim to see how they'd fare with me. But I would definitely recommend folks to check them out if they haven't yet. If you're not familiar with the characters, or you're just not sure what some of the older versions of these DC heroes are like, it's not they're not going crazy with retconning or revamping origins. It's pretty straightforward, and they're tweaking things, I think, where they could be tweaked, and because I don't want to say no one. If someone read one of those old issues, the old Golden Age versions of the Alan Scott Green Lantern stories, I don't know how entertaining they'd be. So it's nice to see things a little fleshed out, and especially since they retconned Alan's sexuality, the origins here seem to make sense. And anytime you can kind of flesh out Wesley Dodds a little bit more, I think for me, it's nice to see that he's more than just a gas mask and a trench coat. So I would check him out if you haven't yet. But that's two of the things that I've read recently.
Isn't it amazing how Riley has become like a DC like a fixture? I mean, he's
you want a new series to start off? We'll give it to Riley.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, he has been doing monthly DC work now for what, close to a decade?
Oh, he's the best they have.
I'm saying, isn't that neat, right? Like, I mean, like, I love that.
Since Proof and things like, it's
Well, he's come a long way from Proof.
For sure.
I mean, I like it. I think it's a great series, but he's he's honed that visual voice.
Yeah. I haven't read the issue yet, but we should at least mention that we discovered today that Mr. Dan Warren Johnson threw a little love to King Dap in the latest issue of Transformers #3. And there's several vanity plate shots of Optimus Prime. One says one of them says Dap. It's an homage to our boy, so it's pretty cool.
Widen your doorways, people. Dap's
unless
coming.
he knows other people, or he's just got finished caulking his bathtub.
Nah.
I have a Dap
another
plant.
one place was Murder Falcon. Like, it was intentional.
Dude, I have a Dap plant in my backyard. I'm not kidding. And every time I drive by, I say, Dap, there's my dude.
There you go.
Yeah, I have my what?
Okay.
I have my very own Image-O-Rama.
Oh, okay. I was going to take care of some business real quick before you get.
Oh well, let's.
Well, we still have their attention.
We need to take care of the business.
Oh man! No, because I meant what I meant is that if we save it to the end, then people it's easy for people.
Oh, for sure, I get you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Couple things. Well, first of all, Dap, you want to remind them what the books of the month are?
It is, because I'm looking right at it, World Without End, a 6-issue series from years ago. From DC, and is actually there's a collection available for those of you who want to get it that way. But it is Jamie Delano and art by John Higgins. It looks fantastic. It's got a very nice heavy metal-esque vibe to it. But yeah, I bought the issues. I want to say it was Heroes at Vince's urging. Glad I did, and now we'll read it along with everybody else.
Nice, and we'll do that.
We should probably do that
27th or 28th, right? Like one.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Cool. We also, Vince, you want to remind them about the EOC logo contest?
Yes, it is that time, people. We will need a new album art for this here shindig for 2024, and we're sending it out there. If you're a creative individual, we would love to see you throw your hat in the ring. This is what we do. We solicit creative types to create us a featured image. Needs to be square. I don't really care what the proportions are, 4x4, 8x8, whatever size you want to work, as long as it's 300 DPI. Let's make it relatively high res. And we have a voting process where our patrons will vote on each entry, and then we take the most loved and we decide amongst the three of us which one is going to win. And you will represent 11 O'Clock Comics for the entire year of 2024. Now, what that means is, as with last year's John Amore piece, we really didn't do anything with it. We should have, but we didn't. And it was just our album art. It's a fantastic piece. I mean, we've had Matthew Allison, we've had D-Dub's Daniel White do 2 of them, I think, right?
Daniel and Jonathan both won twice, and we told them.
Jonathan has 2. Jay Gonzo did 1.
Kyle Lefevre.
Yes.
Giorgio Penalta.
We should do an art book just of our featured images because they're amazing.
Still waiting for that Scotty one, but you know.
Well, you'll never see that. And
of course, the Tony Fleece, the Stray Dog one.
Yes, Tony Fleece there was a number of hands involved in that. It was Tony, Trish, and
that's true. I'm sorry, I should have the whole team.
So, if you would like to give it a shot, we'd love to have you. Just create something, and we have email addresses. What's the best email address, Dap?
info@11o'clockcomics.com.
Yeah,
1 o'clock.
Yeah,
and we should also say that in addition to it being like we're honored that you would do it, and it'll be obviously our art for all of our podcasts and communique and the socials for a whole year. There is a quote unquote prize per se, which is that if you want, and because some of y'all are shy, so you don't have to, but if you want, you also get to sit in the 4th chair for an episode. Yes,
we've had some that didn't want to do it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you get to come on an episode with us.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I want to know your creative process.
Such as it is.
Yeah. So there you go. Again, just make sure it's square. Relatively high res, 300 DPI. Don't do 1x1, 300 DPI. At least give me something to work with, like 4x4, 6x6, 8x8. I know, the bigger the better.
Be a shower, not a grower, you know what I mean?
Some of us can dream.
Right. Also, go to 11o'clockcomics.com for lots of reasons. One, we have all of our episodes up there in the searchable archive. But if you go to the top left tab of the front of the website, you'll see the 2023 11 O'Clockers tab that DAP created. That will bring you to a Google form, and it will have all our balloting for this year's favorites, your favorite creators and comics. Unless you're new to the show, as you know, we do an annual show in mid to late January where we talk about the books and creators that each of us individually thought were our favorites of the year, and then we also talk about the audience's picks. So please, the more votes, the better, and help us help you, because the more of you that submit ballots, the larger the random drawing of the prizes. So anyone that enters is eligible for a random drawing. On the episode where we talk about the awards, we will pick from all of the eligible entrants on air live a winner, and they will get a gift certificate to use at our wonderful sponsor, Cheap Graphic Novels. Last year it was a $100 gift certificate. You guys can make it up to a $200 gift certificate if enough of you vote. So get those votes in, over the next, obviously the year isn't over yet, so you don't have to vote yet, but maybe log in, go to the website, log in. If you create your ballot, you can go back to it. It will keep your picks. You can go in and change it. You can add to it, whatever, but just, sign up now, and that way you'll remember to, be impetus to fill it in when it's time. And then the last bit of thing, which we talked about last week, but as a reminder, we talk about the Patreon a lot, and many of you are members, and we love you for that, but I'll bluntly, like an exponentially larger number of you are not. and listen, if you want to try it out, this is not a bad month to do so, because in addition to our litany of awesome content that we're always providing with month in, month out, which in and of itself makes it worth it. It is December, and I love Christmas, and so I'm doing an EOC Advent calendar feature, which I do every year. And we are now, this is the 6th that we're recording this episode, so we've got nearly a week of stuff up there, including things. I started off with my top 5 guilty pleasure foods, and I didn't hear either of my boys. My boos didn't chime in and tell me what their guilty pleasure foods are, but that's cool.
Saltines.
Saltines? What? Oh God, I'm glad you didn't chime in.
No, I meant yours. When I think of you and food, yeah, I know.
Well, these are guilty pleasures. These are things that you wouldn't normally. Yeah,
I feel guilty for nothing though, so I don't have any guilty.
Oh,
pleasures.
fair enough. Spanish. I did my favorite Spanish comic artists.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you guys didn't tell me who you thought I omitted.
I thought they were pretty much dead on. There are a lot of good ones.
Oh, my man.
Yeah.
Nice. Then I did my, which I did last year as well, but I did my 10 favorite TV shows of 2023. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, I did my unread runs, which I thought was an interesting, which I'm going to circle back around to in a second with you guys. And then yesterday I did highlighted a number of Alpha Flight commissions that I have in my collection that I liked. And then today, because we're recording, wanted to do something with quickness, so it's not live yet, but it'll be some naughty Christmas jokes for y'all. These are not safe for work. These aren't for the kiddos. These are for you to tell your wife and have her look at you and be like, "You're so stupid," before she ravages you for how secretly much she loves that you're funny. And then on Friday, I will be doing a video talking about some Q&A that we asked our wonderful Slack patrons for questions. And so I'll be addressing those questions in a live video. But getting back to the unread runs, I don't know if you guys read that, but
I did.
I basically looked at there were a couple of lists from a few years ago during the pandemic when like all these sites were just making list after list because we had nothing better to do but read them. There were a couple of different lists, like the top 100 comic book storylines of all time, the top 100 comic book runs of all time, and then there was another one which was the 50 greatest non-superhero graphic novels. And again, all lists are subjective. I even say I don't think that if I were creating any of these lists myself, I don't think my list would look exactly like these lists did. But that wasn't really the point. I wanted to just see, based on these crowdsourced lists, like how many of these alleged greatest runs I had yet to read. And so of the 100 great, and this is CBR did a list of top comic runs of all time. And these are like actual runs inside of like single issue comics. Of the 100, I have read 91 of them.
No. You read 92 of them.
I read 92 of them?
Yep.
Which one did I not read?
Because the O'Neill Adams Green Lantern was a book of the month.
Oh, that was the Green Hour
Traveling Heroes.
Yep. Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, I didn't put two and two together. Okay, so so I've read 92 of the 100. But I asked in the feature for people if they wanted to nominate which pick from each of the lists that they thought I should read, and if you all chime in, I will take the highest vote getters for each, and I will read those and discuss them on the show. But the of the runs, the ones I have not read are Giffen and Beerbaum's Legion of Superheroes, Ostrander and Mandrake Spectre, North and Henderson's Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which again, bluntly, I cannot fathom that is one of the 100 greatest comic runs of all time. But,
yeah.
But you do you. Englehart, Rogers, and Austin's Detective. I've read almost no classic detective stuff. I know that breaks Dapp and Hassan and all this everybody else's hearts. But Ennis and McCrae's Hitman, Johns and Collins' Flash. I've never read any Johns' Flash. O'Neill and Adams' Batman. Now again, that's like technically I could have said I've done that because I've certainly read some issues from that, but I don't have really any context for the run itself. And then Wade's Flash run I've not read. So I'm it's almost all DC, not surprisingly. And then with the top 100 comic storylines, I thought that was a better list. Like if we were having a discussion about like the greatest comic stories of all time, I think that list would be more evocative of probably the things we'd be discussing. And in that there were 7 that I haven't read, and that is The Death of Speedy from Love and Rockets. Oh, relax, I'm gonna get to it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of heavy lifting with that. You can't just run into Death of Speedy. You got to read what came before.
Right. Well, we'll get So Superman smashes the Klan. The Love Bunglers.
Again, same.
Love and Rockets. Yeah. First Tale of the Demon, which is O'Neill Adams and others, Dear Giordano stuff, which is the first. I think it was the first Ra's al Ghul story, right, from back in the day. The Man of Steel, I know, which breaks both your hearts. Burns Man of Steel. You all talked about it 1,000 times. I've not read it. Dangerous Habits, which is one of the, if not considered the best John Constantine Hellblazer story, and the return of Barry Allen. We're seeing a trend here. That's that which is probably the most famous part of the Wade Flash run with Greg LaRocque on art. So so I'm eager to. I think having read over 90 of the 100 of each of those is a pretty decent starting point, but there's still holes to fill. And then I won't list them, but there were quite a few of the graphic novels that I hadn't read. There were 16 out of 50 that I hadn't read, and you can see them on the Patreon if you're a patron. But yeah, give it a try, because every day until Christmas Day, you'll be regaled with a little something like this that sometimes comics focus, sometimes not, but just to get the conversation rolling.
Nice. The Giffen T&M Beer Bomb Legion will break your brain. It's a lot of issues. Yeah. Yeah. But it's very good.
Well, of those, I mean, what would you? I mean, if you guys could just tell me, like, all right, this is what you're reading. Like, what would you pick one? I know you're not much of a DC guy anymore, but obviously you've read all this, I'm sure. So
yeah. I'll go with my head or my heart.
Go with your heart. You're more of a heart guy than a head guy.
You got to read Man of Steel. It's ridiculous that you haven't read that yet.
Yeah.
And then I would read Dangerous Habits, which is phenomenal. Yeah.
That's been getting. I feel like that's of all the things in both lists, the Dangerous Habits has been getting the.
Yeah, it's ridiculously good. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people have said, because they know I own the Love and Rockets big box set now. They've all said that, like, kind of what you were leaving, like they definitely think that's the best of this stuff, but like I should start from the beginning.
You're not going to have any context. It's not going to. Yeah. It's going to mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Dap? Man of Steel?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it'll be my Christmas present to y'all. Maybe I'll read Man of Steel this month.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a Barry Allen fan, so I would definitely say the return of Barry Allen.
Would you guys say that? I mean, I guess it's funny. Like, I think of all the in as much as like the cornerstone or tentpole big two characters, I would dare say Flash is the one we've discussed the least on the show of like all the over the years. We've I don't remember many Flash discussions over the years.
No. Yeah.
Would you say that the Wade run is like? Do you like the Wade run over the Johns run, or do you have a different run that you prefer? I mean,
I'm more partial to Wade over Johns. I didn't read a lot of the Wally run, from whether it was Barron or Messner Loebs and everybody beyond, Morrison and Miller. I was also out of touch for a while there, so. Right. I trust Wade. I mean, John's obviously back then getting acclimated with everything DC and rewriting a lot of the foundation between that and of course Green Lantern Rebirth and things like that. So John's definitely has his hand in it, has a way of telling great stories with certain characters, but my affinity for knowing how Wade treats the past, I'm more partial to Wade.
All right.
Barry should have stayed. Oh, no, you're not. Barry should have stayed there.
I know he should have stayed. Listen, of all of the, I mean, there have been some great sacrifices over the years.
Wade brought Barry Allen back, right?
Well, there's
one of the runs that I don't have that's listed here that I haven't read. It's called The Return of Barry Allen.
Yeah, it was like a 7-issue story. But it was also, I liken that to when Mars brought Hal Jordan back for a few issues during the Kyle Rayner run, and it was like early rookie Green Lantern Hal Jordan, and it wasn't like he was back like it was with John's bringing him back. It was
John's brought him to the forefront. Yeah,
right. Yeah, John's brought him back to life and made him what he is again. But no, it's when we could have a whole list of heroes who sacrifice themselves, and and I'm sure at the top there is like Mimic and Pharaoh Lad, but I mean what Barry did in Crisis.
Would Mimic really Mimic? I mean,
just throw it out there because
I own that issue. I actually own that. I own like a slab copy of that, but I don't.
No, I mean Barry's sacrifice. I am, because of when I started reading DC and who was of course the Flash, because I mean Wally is always Kid Flash. He was a Titan. That's my dude. But Barry doing what he did in Crisis was just, I mean, I could not have envisioned a better way for a character to go out. And I do agree with Vince. I think that's like Gwen and Ben, and it's just like, listen, one of the greatest things about them is that yes, they died, and characters are better because of it. But I don't. I was content with Barry being gone, and it was great because he was able to. While he was able to pick up the baton, no pun intended, and run with it, but it was I don't. I actually, you know what? If you do end up reading Return of Barry Allen, we'll go in on it together because I've never read it.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna start. I think I'm based on the feedback from y'all and the EOC community. I'm gonna start with the Man of Steel.
Oh,
He'll hate it.
Oh my god.
He will. He'll hate it.
I don't know if he will.
He will.
I'm optimistic.
Nah, he's that evil, nasty gremlin that wants to stick his finger in the birthday cake.
No, because listen,
So
we
hurtful.
know why Jason does not like Superman, because he's basically he's a character that can't exist, that wouldn't work in Marvel because they're more kind of like grounded in reality. But what Byrne did with Superman for the character for the reboot, I think Jason will appreciate Byrne's take on Superman because he's not the all-powerful being that can move a planet.
Right. Yeah. Let's hope.
That's my hope.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
What else you got,
Wow.
Vince?
Well, I have my own Image-O-Rama.
Look at you.
I
Yeah.
think we probably talk about some things.
3 of these came out today. One of them came out last week, I think. First off, it's a 3-issue miniseries, so you should be reading this. It's by Andrew Krahnke. I hope I pronounced that right. And it's called Bloodrik. It's
only 3 issues?
It's only 3 issues, yes. And the first issue is oversized. There's more pages, and it's only $3.99. The story is very slight, so there's not you read it, Deb?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to get into. It's basically crafting or making real the character of Bloodrik for the reader. And Bloodrik is a massive, hulking barbarian that is armed to the teeth, but in this first issue, he's trudging through a desolate, snow-filled landscape with nothing but an animal skin on his waist and a whole bunch of weapons. So lots of skin exposed, and he's freezing, and he's hungry, and he keeps walking and walking, and he's just looking for something to eat, and he's trying to quell that need to consume something. So Bloodrik is basically 100% ego. He thinks all of the woodland creatures exist for his sustenance. They live and breathe so that he can continue to live and breathe. And he gets lucky and bags a buck, and he's cutting into it and he's eating it, and the the smell of the innards of the buck attracts a bear. And man, you talk about the power of Jack Kirby. Krahnke must have learned something along the way, because when that bear enters the story, it is 100% pure energy. It's crazy. The panels get bigger. The action gets larger. The fur of the bear acts almost like speed lines on the page, and the talons of the bear separate the action into panel-like structures. It is amazing. But I guess I should describe Krahnke's art, because it's very immediate. It probably wasn't in the creative process, but the actual application of the line looks effortless. It's rough, and it looks like he's putting about 300 pounds of pressure on that pencil when he's dragging it across the page. Like, it is very energetic. I hate to say this because I'm not a huge fan of this person, but the exaggerated proportions of this artist, Bart Sears, is very close to what Krahnke does, but not in the sculpting stage, not in the actual mark making part. I see a lot
I was going to say Bart Sears, but like, to me, there's some Batara in there.
Yeah, I see a lot of Simonson in the designy aspect of it, but it's very.
I like it better than Sears for sure.
Me too. Yes, but I mean, just the heroic, massive proportion that Sears brings to his characters. And I see, I mean, a lot of things in here that I just love. Just the way that the mark making looks pencilish. I don't think there's a whole lot of inking in here. Maybe he did just do it with mostly pencil, because there's a transparent aspect to some of the marks that look to me like pencil, but then there's a darkness to some of the line work that makes me think that it was in fact ink. So who knows? It's just a neat little combination of sketchiness and just plain good drawing that I love this issue a lot. So I won't say much about the backstory. Put it this way: it's Bloodrik versus a grouse. And it's a short story, and it's absolutely perfect. It's a perfect little short story. So read it yourself. The Andrew endeared himself to me immensely on the inside front cover, because there's a bit of Bloodrik backstory. And he says, this thing didn't just pop up overnight. I put 10 years into this book. 10 years of uncertainty and pausing, and then doing an ash can, and then at one point he didn't have much to show for his creative investment over the 10-year span. He's just like, fuck it. What's better? I mean, what's more sad than nothing? So no matter what I produce, it's going to be better than nothing. So I might as well just do it. Just get this story out, and he does. And so I'm assuming that the main Bloodrik story is part of that 10-year process, and the backstory is new. So get your hands on Bloodrik. And it's funny, the title graphics, Bloodrik, it's black metal type, indecipherable typography, and below it, in parentheses, it says Bloodrik. Not going to say much about this because it came out today and Dap didn't read it, but Petrol Head #2 came out. Rob Williams and Parr. Some of the things we were mulling over about the reasons why are briefly explained. So there's that. But it's just more super hyperkinetic road action like the first issue. But the neat thing about it, and this isn't a spoiler, it's a something that I hoped will prompt you to actually buy this issue. Within Bloodrik, my God, my brain is still there. Within Petrolhead's car, he has satellite navigation. And the satellite navigation has an avatar, and his name is Satnav Sid, but he speaks with a Cockney accent. It is so cute. It's a lot of fun. Again, the art is just blistering. It is amazing, man. This Parr is a guy to watch. This is not the last we're going to hear from this person, because this issue is just this series so far is just amazing. And Transformers 2's in my stack, but I'm not going to talk about that because, I mean, aside from the DAP cameo,
You mean 3?
3, it goes places. So I won't say it. But read it, Daniel Warren Johnson. But the best thing in this stack was by Tony S. Daniel.
Oh.
Colors by Leonardo Paciarotti. And it's Edenwood, number 2. When I love something, I hope that it is commercially viable, because I don't want it to go away, right? Part of me doesn't really care what these books are selling at the big 2, because I know more or less that there's a lot of padding going on. But even within the Image model, Tony Daniel is not going to keep producing this if he's losing money, right? So I hope that people will read this, because I am 100% infatuated with this book. And the thing that scares me is that Daniel is approaching this series old school. This book does not let up. There are events and concepts introduced every other page. More than I think should be introduced in a single issue. There's stuff in this second issue that he could have played out over the course of like 12 issues. But he introduces everything fast and furious. And I'm like, how long can you sustain this? Like, there's a novelty within the series. There's something of novelty on every other page. And I'm like, that's a lot of creativity to be dumping into one issue. Like, how much gas you got in the tank, dude? Because, like, there are things I think you should hold back. Let a concept evolve over time. Far be it from me to suggest, make me buy more. But that's what I'm saying. Like Ryan, there's a flashback with Ryan and Bastille. And so you get a little bit of more about their relationship. But then it also touches on some characters that were mentioned in the first issue, and then there's a witch queen. That's, again, I don't want to be too specific because Dap hasn't read this yet, and I'm sure many of you haven't. The war between the witches and the demons is more fleshed out, and there seems to be these lost legends, like tall tales of these lost legends that exist somewhere, and they could sway the battle for the witches. And I mean, there's characters introduced on the very last page. There's 4 new characters introduced on, like, it's a lot of stuff. We get to meet one of the witches in depth. There's a new warrior for the demons that's somewhat fleshed out, and it's like crazy. You get some backstory on how the United States, like the state of the Union, so to speak, like what's going on there. What are these army generals thinking about this war? It's insane how much that he packs this issue with. And again, I said this on our Slack, Tony must have graduated very highly from the Chris Claremont School of Writing, because there's a lot of dialogue in this book, like a ton. If you look at a double-page spread, you'll see a lot of balloons. I'm not going to count them because that's stupid, but there's a lot of talking in this book, and a lot of it is things we've yet to see. So it's crazy. I want my man to pace himself, because like Dap said, I think this is the most beautiful Tony has ever looked on a page. I liked Noctera a lot. I thought that was a little bit of a ramp up from his usual. I shouldn't say that. I think he evolved. His visual style evolved with Noctera, and I think it's evolving even more with this book. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So, Edenwood, if you're not reading it, run out and get it, because I'm selfish and I want it to continue. I want to see way, way more of this. That's my Image-O-Rama.
Did Leonardo color him in his previous works, or is this the first time they're working together?
Yeah. I have Tomio Mori colored him on.
That's what I thought. Okay.
On Noctera, yeah. And I thought Noctera was really good. I like it. I mean, I didn't come for the Snyder aspect. I came for the Tony Daniel aspect. And so in that respect, I wasn't let down. But it's a Snyder book, you know. Yeah, not a huge fan. I don't dismiss the guy offhand. I mean, he has written some stuff that I've really enjoyed. But for the most part, Scott Snyder's not the guy that's going to get me to pay the cover charge. It's Tony Daniel. So, but Jason already knows that. Yeah.
It's your boo.
I like him a lot. I really do. I've always liked him.
It's true.
Yeah. So there you go.
With that.
No. Well, we're in the thick of it. So we should start backing up the minibus and saying, hey, yo, if you want to get your graphic novels, OGNs, Omnibus Edition, manga, anything with a thick-ass spine, just go to cheapgraphicnovels.com. cheapgraphicnovels.com and save. Because when you place that first order, you're going to get an email message that says, thank you. Respond to that email message. You have to, because you will be gifted with free shipping on your next order. Mm-hmm. And check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/11 o'clock comics, audio, video, fanzine downloads, sometimes 4 hours of bonus audio. Jason's kicking out videos like a madman. You get to weigh in on the book of the month. You get to join our dedicated Slack channel, and new things will be coming in 24 that will be more conducive for everybody. We're just going to leave it like that. More conducive for everyone to join. How about that? I forgot that part. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm checking my list and seeing what I have left to talk about. And yeah, I don't want to talk about that book because it was just okay, but I put it on my list anyway. Yeah, it arrived today. Guess what came out? Midnight Show number 3. Cullen Bunn, Brian Hurt, Bill Crabtree, Jim Campbell. You've heard us talk about this book. I really don't think it's a hard sell. It's more of the same. Van Helsing is front and center in this one.
So you said it was just okay?
Not this. The book I'm not talking about.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I haven't read it yet. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. This book was great. The one yeah. Look at my list. You'll see. And more monster action. Hurt again. It seems like this is a nice, comfortable spot for Hurt because I haven't seen him look this good. I mean, I've seen him look great, but this is better than great. This is really good. It's creature on. Oh, this double page spread is amazing. Creature on creature action with Van Helsing in the lead. Frankie joins the party. Just read it. Midnight Show number 3 from Dark Horse. Hurt. They're going crazy upstairs. Hurt, Bunn, Crabtree, Campbell. Buy it. They could have charged $10 for this, and I would have gladly paid it.
And I would have let you buy my copy. In your travels, for my DC-O-Rama, this book is just a lot of fun. And I mean, the cover is dripping with Kirby Crackle. This is Birds of Prey number 4. I'm not going to go too deep into it. Written by Kelly Thompson, art by Leonardo Romero, colors by Jordi Belair. Shit's hitting the fan. because our heroines are on the mascara, and of course they were doing this on down low so as not to alert Diana. Unfortunately, that ship has sailed, and there is a ton of action in this issue. Kelly, it's amazing how she has a handle on long-standing DC characters in such a short amount of issues. It's wonderful to read. Whether it's Dinah's inner monologue, whether it's Harley's comments, whether it's Barda talking to Cass, there is a lot to enjoy in the series overall. But this fourth issue is you're definitely getting a bang for your buck. The cover does not lie. I thought it might have because of how early in the issue the interaction between Barda and between Big Barda and Wonder Woman plays out. There's a double page spread which is amazing, and I'm curious to know where exactly Harley's eyes are looking. But yeah, there's the whole mission, the reason for the birds heading to Paradise Island to save Sin. Things aren't exactly how they appear, what they seem. Continues into the fifth issue, but yeah, I think this may. I loved the third issue. This is very close to maybe toppling that as my favorite of the series so far. But no, this was a lot of fun. I expect I could see this. I don't want to say that now because it's only been 4 issues, but I can see this being on O'Closkers in 2024 if Kelly and company keep this momentum going. This is it's a fantastic issue. In your travels, definitely, if you haven't yet, you now have 4 issues to read. Birds of Prey by Thompson, Romero, and Belair.
That is the next thing on my list to read.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's been great so far. Kelly be killing it.
She is.
Thompson in the Hales. Vince, I know you're a fan of Philippe Drouillet.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Did you know that there is an award named after him that is given out every year at Angoulême, of course, the French comic festival. It is the Philippe Drouillet Prize, and it is rewarded every year at Angoulême to a graphic novel. And this year's winner was a book called The Cliff, which is written and drawn by, I'm probably getting the name wrong, but it's Manon Debaye, Debaye. Written and drawn. Our friends at Drawn and Quarterly translated it from the French to the English and brought it over here. And I'm damn sure glad that they did. It is a stunning piece of work. It certainly can understand why it won an award. It is the aforementioned cliff refers to a giant overlook in this town, a cliff that's high enough that if you jump off it, you're going to die. And the book opens with 2 high school girls, Charlie and Astrid, meeting up at the cliff and cutting their hands open and making a blood pact that they will hand in hand jump off the cliff and commit suicide that Friday before they turn 13. They're both 12-year-old girls. And this is on a Monday. And then the book is essentially that week before they have their pact to kill themselves. It's needless to say, it's heady stuff. Obviously, this is not feel good comedy type of work. This is pretty powerful stuff. But they make this pact, and then we see them over that week in school and their home lives, and it's just incredibly well crafted. Astrid is this wispy blonde very much a introvert and has no friends at all, like none. Like she's kind of the very bottom of the social circle. In fact, one of the bullies at one point says like she's such a outcast, even the nerds don't want to hang out with her type of thing. Whereas Charlie is the tomboy. She's very tough. In fact, she's probably tougher than any of the boys at school, and for that reason, she's not made fun of. In fact, she's kind of part of the bully crew. Nobody messes with her, but she's still an outcast because she's very masculine, and although her friends in the school don't know it, she's a lesbian and dealing with her sexuality and all this sort of stuff. And and Astrid and Charlie become friends, and they make this pact, and we see what happens over the course of the week. Their interactions with each other, their interactions with their family, their interactions with their friends or other, really not friends, but other classmates. And of course, we get to the pinnacle, the moment of truth, as it were. And I'll leave it be as to what happens there, but it's not. It's let's just say the pact is not fulfilled in the way that it was intended. And it was pretty amazing stuff. I mean, as a father of three, well, I guess two teenage boys now and one 20-year-old. It's a stunning reminder of the cruelty of that age, right? Like that is, I always said, like middle school is probably the cruelest age of humanity, right? Like everybody's just pretty much desperate to fit in, and one of the ways they do that because they're immature still is they make everybody else that doesn't quite fit in feel worse about themselves, and that's a lot of what this book is about. From a visual standpoint, it's all pencil. It's colored pencils. Which is kind of nice because we don't see that very often. And like the line work itself, the characters to me look a lot like American traditional tattoo pinups done well. Like, so if you're a tattoo fan, you're going to know what I'm talking about. If you're not, maybe you have to Google it. But like single line weight, very simple eyes, one simple like curvy line for a nose, and two little black lines for lips. So like definitely not like any kind of intense line work to evoke the faces, but done in a way that it still works really well. And then a very flat but varied color palette that brings it to life. But yeah, I was really blown away by it. I mean, we talked about sort of wordsmithing and word crafting. I mean, there's some things that just like punch you in the gut, and I'm sure if you're a person of that age, you'd read it and probably find something from it. And more for my sake, if you're a parent, you're like, wow, like at one point the two kids are hanging out and talking about things, and the one asks, what would you have become? Like, meaning if they didn't kill themselves, and it's like they have a conversation about that. And then like at another point, Charlie is like forced into, because of her crew, to like be totally cruel to Astrid, because their friendship is hidden, and like she just does like some horrifying shit to Astrid, and you're like, God damn, like it's just gut punching. So yeah, like, not a happy feel good book, but a really, really well done, powerful book. So Drawn and Quarterly, The Cliff, in your travels.
And there you go, people. Yeah, thank you. Upstairs. Hope you loved it. And
what are they doing up there? Are they fucking playing beer pong?
No, they're eating. They're doing something. They went to Christmas bingo. We hope that you come back next time. In the meantime, go to a comic shop, buy some book, read them, love them, talk about them, whether with your friends or online, and then come back here because we'll probably be talking about the same things. Mm-hmm. Say goodnight. What's his name again? Bjorn?
Well, just ask Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah, there you go. I have to admit, I'm not a jealous person, but I was like, the fuck. I want a license plate.
I mean, he's Mr. Transformers of the three of us.
Exactly, but to be
if this is a Star Trek comic, your name would be in it. Obviously.
Of course, or no, Sherlock Holmes, I'd be in there,
and obviously a Doctor Who would be me.
Exactly. What TARDIS, David? Dude, I remember.
Right.
I remember the time.
Yeah, retarded.
Yeah.
Of course I do. On my greatest hits reel.
Yeah.
Right under. I'm pissing, bro, or whatever you said. Yeah.
I'm going to see Godzilla -1 tomorrow.
I'm jealous.
See, jealous again.
I've heard nothing but great things about it.
David.
Very nice. Yeah, I got to get my ass. I hope it's playing somewhere local. I haven't even checked because I assumed that it's not.
I'm stunned. You know, it's got a 97% Rotten Tomatoes rating for a Godzilla movie.
I think it got
crazy.
Best Picture or something in Japan, or it's doing ridiculous box office. Yeah,
pretty awesome. Yeah. I really want to see the Miyazaki movie too in the theater, but I can't get any of my family to want to go see that because I clearly did something wrong with the way I raised them.
Oh,
wow.
But that'll be on Max soon enough, so I can wait for that one. I think.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we love you so much, and we're out of here. And they are going to repeat what I just said right now.
We do love you so much, and we are out of here. And let's see you on the other spots that you can find us. Let's see you on the Slack. Let's see you responding to our Patreon feed. Let's do it. Come on.
do it.
Yep.
Merry Christmas to all of us.
That's it for that one.